Let's now take you to Pretoria, where the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster will host a briefing on the state of readiness for the upcoming 2024 general elections. The briefing will be led by Ministers of Police, Bheki Cele, Defence and Military Veterans, Thandi, Modise and Home Affairs, Motsoaledi. Newzroom Afrika's Katleho Sekhotho is there ahead of that briefing to give us more details. Good morning, Katleho, and thank you for joining us. What can we expect from this briefing?
A very good morning, Katleho. Indeed, an important briefing here set to get underway with Ministers Bheki Cele, Thandi, Modise and Motsoaledi, and they will be outlining measures which will be taken by the security clusters to ensure that come the 29th of May, the elections are free and fair and are safe for all eligible voters. Now, the Electoral Commission of South Africa says it's confident in the law enforcement agencies to safeguard, all those who will be voting, and as well as safeguarding, not just the elections, but election material, IEC ballot papers, as well as staff and all those involved, and the property of the IEC and all those involved in the voting process. Now, over 23,000 voting stations will be accessible to all who will be voting throughout the country. And now the Institute of Security Studies has released information which is quite important leading up to the details we'll hear about the security and the safety of the elections. And it notes that with the birth of several new political parties, that there are legitimate concerns about safety heading to the elections. Now, we know that the largest recent mass violence outbreak was seen in July 2021 following the incarceration of former President Jacob Zuma, resulting in the deaths of 300 people, many injured, and billions of rands lost in the economy. And following that outbreak, definitely heightened visibility or heightened awareness by security clusters in ensuring that there's safety and intelligence throughout the country. Now that former President Jacob Zuma, head of the Umkhonto weSizwe party, contesting in the elections, and if you look at the recent weeks leading up to, with former President Jacob Zuma leading the MK party, there's been a number of legal challenges that they've been facing. Now, the first one was when the ANC challenged the registration of the MK party, and the MK party winning in that bid and obviously now being a registered party. And the second challenge being when the IEC held an objection to the registration, or the candidacy rather, of former President Jacob Zuma in the elections. But also they won at the Electoral Court in their bid to make sure that it's the former president's face on the ballot papers come the 29th of May. But during that time, during those legal battles, if you'll recall, Zuma's loyalist, Visvin Reddy, being quoted as saying and speaking to members in a crowd, saying that if the MK party is not allowed to contest, there will be anarchy and there will be violence. But since they've won those challenges, obviously that threat no longer standing, but certainly making sure that, an indication for the security clusters at least to keep their ears and eyes on the ground. And in past elections, Katleho, there have been disruptions, the local government elections in 2021 and also the national elections in 2019. There were certainly disruptions in a small contained way, around certain hotspot areas of voting stations, and certainly we'll be hearing, what plans they have as a security cluster to ensure that even those kind of small disruptions, which are usually service delivery related, just to make sure that those are contained and that everyone who wants to vote will have the opportunity to do so.
All right, Katleho, thank you so much for that pre-context. We know that that briefing is about to begin in the next 10 minutes, around 10 a.m. We certainly will be crossing over and bringing you those visuals live right here on Newzroom Afrika.